My daughter begged me not to go on a business trip. Mommy, something bad happens when you're gone. I canceled the trip, told no one. That night, I hid in the basement. At 11 p.m., my mother-in-law arrived with two men I'd never seen. They walked toward my daughter's room. I stepped out of the shadows. They tried to run, but someone was waiting for them at the door. But before I begin, please like and subscribe to the channel. And we'd love to hear which part of the world are you joining us from. Let us know. Now let's dive into today's story. The house on Maple Crest Drive looked the same as every other house on the block. Cream siding, black shutters, a mailbox shaped like a barn. Danielle Mercer found comfort in that sameness. After the divorce, after the screaming matches and the lawyers, and the way her ex-husband's mother had looked at her like she was something scraped off a shoe, Danielle craved invisible. She folded another blouse into her suitcase, smoothing the fabric with careful hands. St. Louis, 2 days, training seminar on new compliance protocols. The kind of thing she used to dread, but now welcomed. Hotel rooms with clean sheets, continental breakfast, nobody asking her for anything. The bedroom smelled like lavender detergent and the faint vanilla of the candle she'd burned the night before. Afternoon light cut through the blinds in neat, horizontal lines. Everything organized, everything controlled. Mom. Danielle turned. Avery stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around her middle like she was trying to hold something inside. 9 years old and already carrying the weight of things she shouldn't have to think about. Her dark hair hung loose around her shoulders. She wore the purple shirt with a dinosaur on it, the one she always chose when she needed comfort. What's up, sweetie? Avery's jaw worked for a moment. She had her father's bone structure, but Danielle's eyes, serious, watchful. The kind of kid who noticed everything and said little. Can you not go this time? The question landed soft but heavy. Danielle set down the pants she'd been folding. Why, honey, did something happen? Avery shifted her weight from one foot to the other. She wasn't crying. She never cried unless it was bad. That's what scared Danielle most. The way her daughter had learned to keep things locked down. Grandma Lynn gets weird when you're gone. The room felt colder. Danielle sat on the edge of the bed, patted the space beside her. Avery came over slowly, sat without touching, keeping that small distance that meant she was holding back. Weird how? Danielle kept her voice level. Calm. The way you talk to someone on a ledge. Avery picked at a loose thread on her jeans. She asks questions. What kind of questions? About who I'd rather live with. Avery's voice got quieter. About Dad. About you. Like she's trying to figure something out. Danielle felt ice slide down her spine. She knew that feeling. She'd felt it before, during the divorce, when Lynn had sat across from her at that coffee shop and said, with a smile that never reached her eyes, "My son deserves better than this." Lynn Mercer, 62 years old, volunteer coordinator at Riverton Baptist, made a peach cobbler that won the county fair 3 years running, showed up to every school event with a camera and opinions. She'd never forgiven Danielle for leaving her son. Never mind that her son had drained their savings on sports betting. Never mind the nights Danielle had found him passed out on the couch, empty bottles scattered like evidence. Lynn believed in appearances, in family unity, in the kind of control that looked like love from the outside. Does she say anything else? Danielle asked. Avery nodded, still not meeting her eyes. Last time, she told me that sometimes moms make mistakes, that it's okay to ask for help. She finally looked up, but it felt wrong, like she was trying to get me to say something. Danielle's hands clenched into fists on her lap. She forced them open. Breathe. Okay, she said. I'm not going. Avery's shoulders dropped an inch. Relief, immediate and visible. Really? Really? Danielle pulled her daughter close, felt the small body relax against her. I'll call work. Tell them something came up. Avery didn't ask questions. She just hugged back, tight enough that Danielle could feel her heartbeat. When Avery left to watch TV, Danielle stood in her bedroom and stared at the half-packed suitcase. Her phone sat on the nightstand, silent and accusing. She picked it up, scrolled through recent calls. 2 from Lynn. Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon. Both while Danielle had been at work. She hadn't called back. She never did unless it was about Avery's schedule. She opened her texts, found one from a number she didn't recognize at first, then realized Lynn's sister. Patricia, still traveling this weekend? Danielle's stomach went cold. She hadn't told anyone except her supervisor about the seminar, hadn't mentioned it to Lynn, hadn't posted about it. The confirmation email sat in her work inbox, not her personal one. How did they know? She sat on the bed, opened her laptop, logged into Avery's school portal, checked the family contact section. There, emergency contacts. Lynn Mercer, grandmother, authorization to pick up. Danielle had added her after the divorce, back when she still thought family meant safety. Back before she understood that some people wore love like a disguise. She closed the laptop, walked downstairs. Avery sat on the couch, knees pulled up, watching some cartoon about talking animals. The living room smelled like the pine cleaner Danielle used every Saturday. Everything neat, everything in its place. Hey, AV. Her daughter looked over. When Grandma asks those questions, Danielle said carefully, does she ask them when other people are around? Avery shook her head. Only when it's just us. When you're gone and she's babysitting. Has she ever asked you if you want to go stay with her? Avery's face shifted, something between confusion and worry. She said, if you mess up again, she can help fix things. The words hit like a punch. Danielle kept her face neutral, but her pulse hammered in her throat. Did Grandma say what fix means? She said courts listen to grandmas. That I should remember that. Danielle nodded slowly, forced a smile. Okay, baby. Thanks for telling me. She walked to the kitchen, gripped the counter edge. The granite felt cold and solid under her palms. She knew this pattern. She'd lived through it once already. During the divorce, Lynn had tried to convince the judge that Danielle was unstable, had submitted a letter claiming Danielle neglected Avery's education, had brought photos of a messy house taken through the window, photos that showed one evening's worth of dishes, reframed as chronic neglect. The judge had dismissed it, but Lynn had tried, and now she was trying again. Danielle pulled out her phone, searched custodial interference Indiana, read through statute after statute. Her throat felt dry, her hands steady. She'd been scared before, scared of losing her daughter, scared of courts and lawyers and people who smiled while they lied. But fear wasn't useful anymore. She dialed. The family law hotline picked up on the third ring. A woman's voice, professionally warm. Family Law Access Center. How can I help you? Danielle sat at her kitchen table, notepad open, pen ready. I need to know my rights regarding my former mother-in-law's contact with my daughter. I can help with general information. Is there a custody order in place? Yes, I have sole physical and legal custody. Her father has supervised visitation every other weekend. And the grandmother? No formal arrangement. She babysits sometimes, but recently she's been... Danielle paused, chose her words carefully. She's been asking my daughter questions that feel like she's building a case for something. What kind of questions? Danielle listed them. The woman on the phone took notes. Danielle could hear the keyboard clicking. Has she made any direct threats? She told my daughter that courts listen to grandmas, that if I mess up, she can fix things. A pause. Then, in Indiana, grandparents can petition for visitation rights under specific circumstances, but they don't have automatic custody rights. If you're concerned about interference, you should document everything. Dates, times, exact words if possible. I have some of it written down. Good. If she attempts to take your daughter without permission, that's custodial interference, a criminal offense. If you believe she's planning something, you can report your concerns to local law enforcement. Danielle wrote that down, underlined it. Would they take me seriously? Without proof. They'll take a report. Whether they investigate depends on the specifics, but it creates a paper trail. That matters. After the call, Danielle sat for a long time, staring at her notes. Then she picked up the phone again. The Riverton Police Department's non-emergency line connected her to a tired-sounding dispatcher. "I'd like to report a concern," Danielle said, "about potential custodial interference." "What's the nature of the concern?" Danielle explained, kept her voice level, professional, gave specific examples, specific dates. The dispatcher asked questions. Danielle answered each one. "We'll file a report," the dispatcher said finally. "An officer may follow up for more information. Do you feel you or your daughter are in immediate danger?" "No, but I needed this on record." "Understood. We'll document everything you've told us." When Danielle hung up, her hands were shaking, not from fear, from anger, from the realization that she'd have to fight this battle again, that Lynn wouldn't stop, that some people believed their intentions justified any action, that love for people like Lynn meant ownership. Danielle pulled out her laptop, created a new folder, titled it Documentation. She started with the text messages, screenshots of every conversation with Lynn over the past 6 months, the missed calls, the voicemail where Lynn had said, "Just checking on my grandbaby. You know I worry when you're too busy for family." Too busy for family. Code for you're neglecting her. Then the photos. Avery's report cards, all A's and B's. Her attendance record. Perfect except for one sick day. The thank you note from her teacher, praising Avery's creativity and kindness. Documentation. Evidence. Truth built line by line. At dinner, Danielle made spaghetti. Avery pushed meatballs around her plate, drawing patterns in the marinara sauce. "You okay?" Danielle asked. Avery nodded. "Are you mad at Grandma?" Danielle considered lying, considered saying everything was fine, but Avery deserved better than that. "I'm concerned," Danielle said. "Grandma's been saying things that worry me, but you don't need to worry about it, okay? That's my job." "Is she going to get in trouble?" "I don't know yet." Avery seemed to accept that. She ate a meatball, drank her milk. "Can we have a movie night?" she asked. "Like we used to." Danielle smiled. "Absolutely." They set up in the living room. Blankets on the couch. Popcorn in the big bowl. Some animated movie about a girl who discovers she's secretly a princess. Avery curled against Danielle's side, warm and solid and safe. By 10 p.m. she was asleep. Danielle carried her upstairs, tucked her into bed. Avery's room smelled like strawberry shampoo and the faint mustiness of stuffed animals lined up on shelves. The night light cast soft shadows on the walls. Danielle stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching her daughter sleep. Then she went back downstairs, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with her laptop and her notes and her phone, and waited. At 11:17 p.m., headlights swept across the living room wall. Danielle stood, walked to the window, pulled back the curtain an inch. A sedan, dark blue, parked in her driveway. Lynn got out first. 62 years old and dressed like she was going to church. Pressed slacks, cardigan, pearls. Her gray hair perfect. Her face set in that expression Danielle knew too well. Righteous certainty. 2 men climbed out of the back seat. Not rough-looking. Clean jackets. One carried a clipboard. The other had a phone pressed to his ear. Danielle's heartbeat stayed steady. Calm. She'd expected this. She moved to the hallway, turned on the porch light, stood where she could see the door, but they couldn't see her. Lynn's footsteps on the walkway. Sharp, confident. One knock. Hard enough to wake someone sleeping. Danielle didn't move. Lynn tried the doorknob. It didn't turn. Danielle had changed the locks 3 months ago, right after Lynn had let herself in one afternoon to check on things while Danielle was at work. Had found her standing in Avery's room, going through her closet, taking photos. For memories, Lynn had said. Danielle had taken her key that day. Lynn had cried, said Danielle was being paranoid and cruel. Now Lynn cursed under her breath. Soft enough that she probably thought no one could hear. But Danielle heard. One of the men stepped forward, said something too quiet to make out. Lynn gestured toward the house, shook her head. The man raised his voice. "Ma'am, we can call law enforcement if you refuse to cooperate." That's when Danielle opened the door. Lynn turned, surprise flashing across her face before she schooled it into concern. "Danielle, thank God. I was worried." "You already called them," Danielle said. She looked past Lynn to the two men. "And they're already here." Blue and red lights washed over the cul-de-sac. The police cruiser pulled up to the curb, silent except for the engine. 2 officers got out. Young, alert. One had his hand near his belt, not threatening, just ready. Lynn's expression shifted. Confusion, then calculation. "Officers," she said, turning toward them, her voice breaking just slightly. "Thank goodness you're here. My granddaughter," she called me. "She's frightened. Her mother's been—" "Stop talking," Danielle said. Lynn's mouth snapped shut. Danielle looked at the officers. "I'm Danielle Mercer. This is my house. I called your department earlier today to file a report about concerns regarding custodial interference. My former mother-in-law just attempted to enter my home without permission at 11 p.m. with 2 men I don't know." The first officer, nameplate Red Roberts, pulled out a notepad. "Ms. Mercer, can you explain what's happening?" "I can." Danielle stepped onto the porch. The night air felt cold against her skin. "I'd also like to know who these men are and what they're doing at my house." Roberts turned to Lynn. "Ma'am." Lynn straightened. Her eyes shone with tears. "My granddaughter is inside. She's in danger. This woman, my former daughter-in-law, she's unstable. She leaves Avery alone. She neglects her. I have documentation." "You have lies," Danielle said flatly. The second officer, Patterson, looked at the 2 men. "Gentlemen, can you identify yourselves?" The one with the clipboard stepped forward. Mid-30s, nervous sweat on his forehead despite the cool night. "James Wyatt. We're with Family Transition Services. We facilitate." "Child removal," Danielle finished. "Based on what authority?" Wyatt glanced at Lynn. "Mrs. Mercer contacted our service. She expressed concerns about her granddaughter's welfare and requested assistance in relocating the child to a safer environment." "Do you have a court order?" Roberts asked. "We know. Mrs. Mercer assured us that—" "I'm the grandmother," Lynn interrupted. Her voice rose. "I have rights. That little girl needs me. Her mother is—" "In possession of sole physical and legal custody," Danielle said. She pulled a folder from the table, just inside the door, handed it to Roberts. Documentation, custody agreement, school records, medical records, character references, text messages from Mrs. Mercer showing a pattern of manipulation and attempts to undermine my relationship with my daughter. Roberts opened the folder, flipped through pages. His expression stayed neutral, but his jaw tightened. Patterson moved closer to Lynn. "Ma'am, you're accusing Ms. Mercer of neglect while attempting to remove a child without legal authority. That's a serious problem. I'm her grandmother." Lynn's voice cracked. "I love that little girl. I'm trying to protect her." "From what?" Danielle asked. Lynn pointed at her. "From you. from your instability, from the way you keep her isolated, the way you've poisoned her against her own family. I've never said a negative word about you to Avery, Danielle said. Her voice stayed level, ice cold. You did that yourself. That's a lie. Is it? Danielle pulled out her phone, opened a recording app, hit play. Avery's voice small and clear. Grandma says if you mess up again, she can help fix things. She says courts listen to grandmas. Lynn's face went white. You can't, that's illegal recording. It's my daughter, Danielle said, in my home, telling me what someone said to her. Perfectly legal in Indiana. Roberts closed the folder, looked at Lynn. Ma'am, I need you to be very clear. Did you hire these men to remove Ms. Mercer's daughter from this house tonight? Lynn's mouth opened, closed. Mrs. Mercer, Wyatt said quietly, maybe we should. Answer the question, Patterson said. Lynn's shoulders shook. I was trying to help. She's not safe here. Danielle she can't. She can't what? Danielle asked. She stepped closer, not threatening, just present. Say it. Tell them what you really think. Lynn's face twisted. You stole my son's family. You made him look like a failure. You turned Avery against him. Against me. You don't deserve. There it is, Danielle said softly. She turned to Roberts. She's not worried about Avery's safety. She's angry I left her son. Angry she can't control me anymore. So she's going after my daughter. Roberts nodded slowly. He looked at Wyatt. This family transition service. You facilitate custody transfers. We assist families in crisis situations. Without court orders. Without legal documentation. Wyatt's silence was answer enough. Patterson pulled out handcuffs. Mrs. Mercer, I'm placing you under arrest for attempted custodial interference and conspiracy to commit unlawful restraint. Lynn stumbled back. You can't. This isn't. I'm her grandmother. That doesn't give you rights, Patterson said. He moved behind her. Lynn jerked away. Don't touch me. Danielle, stop this. Think about Avery. Think about what you're doing. Danielle watched as Patterson cuffed Lynn's wrists. Watched the woman who'd served her coffee and smiled at family dinners and told her she was never good enough for the family. Watched her face crumple into something desperate and ugly. You'll regret this, Lynn spat. Mascara ran down her cheeks. You think you've won? You've just made everything worse. Avery will hate you. She'll know what you did to her family. Danielle didn't respond. Roberts escorted Lynn to the patrol car. She fought the whole way, not physically, just verbally, screaming about injustice, about grandparents' rights, about how Danielle had always been selfish and cold and wrong. The car door closed. The sound cut off. Silence settled over the cul-de-sac. Porch lights flicked on up and down the street. Neighbors peering out, trying to see what had happened. Patterson turned to Wyatt and his colleague. We'll need statements from both of you. Downtown. Now. They went without protest. Pale. Shaken. When the cars pulled away, Danielle stood on her porch, arms wrapped around herself, watching the taillights disappear. She didn't cry, didn't shake, didn't feel relief. She felt nothing at all. The house felt too quiet after the police left. Danielle locked the door, triple-checked it, walked through each room, turning on lights, making sure every window was secured. Muscle memory from the divorce. From the nights she'd lie awake wondering if her ex would show up drunk and angry. But he'd never been the real threat. The real threat had been his mother, smiling, patient, certain of her righteousness. Danielle climbed the stairs, checked on Avery, still sleeping, curled on her side, one hand tucked under her pillow. The arrest had happened fast enough, quiet enough, that she'd never woken. Small mercies. Danielle sat on the edge of Avery's bed, smoothed her daughter's hair back from her forehead, The nightlight cast her face in soft blue, made her look younger than 9, made her look like the baby she'd been, the one Danielle had rocked at 3 a.m. while her husband slept through the crying. "I won't let anyone take you," Danielle whispered. "I promise." Avery shifted in her sleep, but didn't wake. Danielle went to her own room, sat on the bed, stared at her phone. 3 missed calls. 2 from Patricia, Lynn's sister. 1 from a number she didn't recognize. She deleted them all without listening. Then she opened her laptop, searched custodial interference, Indiana penalties. Read statute after statute until her eyes burned. Class A misdemeanor, up to a year in jail. Fines, potential felony charges if harm was intended. Lynn would fight it. She'd hire a lawyer. She'd cry in court about how she was only trying to protect her granddaughter from a neglectful mother. But Danielle had documentation now. Police reports, witness statements, evidence. She closed the laptop, tried to sleep, couldn't. Morning came gray and cold. November in Indiana meant bare trees and frost on the grass and a wind that cut through your jacket. Danielle made breakfast, eggs and toast, orange juice. Normal. Everything normal. Avery came downstairs in her pajamas, rubbing sleep from her eyes. "Morning, baby." "Morning." Avery climbed onto her chair. "Did I hear something last night? Like cars?" Danielle had prepared for this. Some neighbors had an issue. Police came to help. Nothing for you to worry about. Avery accepted that without question. 9 years old and already trained to trust her mother's version of events. They ate in comfortable silence. Avery swung her legs under the table, humming some song from school. "Mom." "Yeah. Are we still having movie day?" Danielle smiled. "Absolutely." After breakfast, Danielle called her supervisor, explained there was a family emergency, not a lie, technically, and she needed to use her personal days. Her supervisor, a woman who'd been through her own custody battle years ago, didn't ask questions. "Take the time you need," she said. "Let me know if you need anything." Danielle spent the morning cleaning, laundry, dishes, vacuuming, scrubbing the bathroom until it shone. Physical work helped, gave her hand something to do, kept her mind from spinning. Around noon, the doorbell rang. Danielle froze. Avery looked up from her coloring book. "Want me to get it?" "No. Stay here." Danielle walked to the front door, checked the peephole. A woman in a navy blazer, mid-40s, professional, holding a briefcase. Danielle opened the door but left the chain on. "Can I help you?" "Ms. Mercer? I'm Jennifer Walsh. I'm with Child Protective Services." Ice flooded Danielle's veins. She kept her face neutral. "Do you have identification?" Walsh pulled out a badge. "CPS. Official." Danielle unlocked the chain, opened the door. "What's this about?" "We received a report yesterday afternoon expressing concerns about your daughter's welfare. I'm required to follow up." "Who made the report?" "I can't disclose that information." But Danielle knew. Lynn. One last effort before showing up at her door. "Come in," Danielle said. Walsh entered. Her eyes swept the living room. Clean, organized, toys in bins, books on shelves. Nothing to criticize. Avery peeked around the corner from the kitchen. "Hi there," Walsh said gently. "What's your name?" "Avery." "I'm Ms. Walsh. I just need to talk to your mom for a bit, okay?" Avery looked at Danielle. Danielle nodded. "It's fine, sweetie. Go back to your coloring." Avery disappeared. Walsh sat on the couch, pulled out a file. The report alleged neglect. Specifically, that you leave your daughter alone frequently, that the home is unsafe, and that you've been demonstrating unstable behavior. Danielle sat across from her, hands folded. "Calm. The person who made that report was arrested last night for attempted custodial interference." Walsh's eyebrows rose. "Excuse me." Lynn Mercer, my former mother-in-law. She's been trying to gain custody of my daughter since the divorce. Last night, she showed up at my house with 2 men from some unlicensed family service, attempting to remove Avery without legal authority. The Riverton police arrested her. I have documentation, police reports, everything. Walsh wrote quickly. Do you have those documents available? I do. Danielle retrieved the folder, handed it over, watched Walsh read through everything, the custody agreement, the school records, the text messages, the police report from last night. Walsh's expression shifted, professional, mask cracking into something like sympathy. This is thorough. I've learned to be. Walsh closed the folder. May I speak with Avery? Privately. Danielle's chest tightened, but she nodded. Of course. Walsh went to the kitchen. Danielle stayed in the living room, hands gripped together, listening to the murmur of voices. She couldn't make out words, just tone. Walsh's questions soft and gentle, Avery's answers clear and confident. 10 minutes felt like hours. Finally, Walsh returned. Avery trailed behind her, looking uncertain. Am I in trouble? Avery asked. No, baby, Danielle said. Not at all. Walsh closed her briefcase. Based on what I've seen and heard, there's no evidence of neglect or unsafe conditions. I'll be closing this case and noting in my report that the complaint appears to be retaliatory in nature. Danielle felt something loosen in her chest. Thank you. You're doing a good job, Ms. Mercer. Walsh's voice was sincere. Your daughter is well cared for, happy, safe. That's what matters. After Walsh left, Danielle sat on the couch and let herself breathe. Avery climbed up beside her. Was that about Grandma? No point in lying. Avery was smart. She'd figure it out eventually. Yes. Is she trying to take me away? Danielle pulled her daughter close. She tried. She won't succeed. Avery was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't want to see her anymore. You don't have to. Promise. Promise. That night, Danielle got a call from an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Ms. Mercer? This is Detective Grant with the Riverton Police Department. I'm handling the case involving Lynn Mercer. Danielle sat up straighter. Yes. Mrs. Mercer was arraigned this morning. She posted bail. She's out. Danielle's stomach dropped. Okay. There's a no-contact order in place. She's not allowed to come near you or your daughter. But I wanted to make sure you were aware she's no longer in custody. I understand. Thank you for letting me know. After she hung up, Danielle checked every lock in the house again. Lynn was out there somewhere. Angry, humiliated, desperate. But Danielle wasn't afraid. She'd fought for Avery once. She'd fight again if she had to. The next few weeks passed in a blur of legal motions and phone calls. Lynn's lawyer filed to dismiss the charges, claimed it was a misunderstanding, that Lynn had only been concerned about her granddaughter's welfare. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Rita Caldwell, wasn't buying it. She hired unlicensed individuals to remove a child from her mother's home in the middle of the night. Caldwell said during a pre-trial hearing, "That's not concern. That's kidnapping." Lynn's lawyer argued about grandparents' rights, about Lynn's clean record, about her standing in the community. The judge, a gray-haired man named Holbrook, listened to both sides. Then he looked at Lynn. "Mrs. Mercer, did you or did you not attempt to have your granddaughter removed from her mother's custody without a court order?" Lynn's voice trembled. "I was afraid for her safety, Your Honor. I thought—" "Answer the question." "Yes, but I—" "Thank you." Holbrook turned to the lawyers. "Motion to dismiss is denied. This case will proceed to trial." Danielle watched from the gallery, felt no satisfaction, no victory, just tired resignation. This wasn't over. It wouldn't be over for a long time. Trial came in February, 3 months after the arrest. 3 months of depositions and motions and sleepless nights. Danielle sat in the courtroom, hands folded in her lap, watching the jury file in. 12 people who would decide Lynn's fate. The prosecution went first. Caldwell laid out the timeline, the text messages, the calls, the pattern of behavior leading up to the night Lynn showed up with 2 men and tried to take Avery. She called witnesses, the police officers who'd arrested Lynn, the CPS worker who'd found no evidence of neglect, Avery's teacher who testified that Avery was a well-adjusted, happy child. Then Caldwell called Danielle. The walk to the witness stand felt long. Every eye in the courtroom on her. Lynn sitting at the defense table, face pale, hands trembling. Danielle took the oath. Saturday, folded her hands. Caldwell stood. Ms. Mercer, can you describe your relationship with the defendant? She's my former mother-in-law. We were close once, during my marriage. After the divorce, things changed. How so? She blamed me for her son's problems. Made it clear she thought I'd made a mistake leaving him. Did she ever threaten you? Not directly, but she made comments, suggestions, things like, a mother who puts herself first isn't much of a mother. Lynn's lawyer objected. Hearsay. It's a statement by the defendant, Caldwell countered. Exception applies. Overruled, Holbrook said. Continue. Danielle testified for 40 minutes. Stayed calm, precise, unemotional. When Lynn's lawyer cross-examined her, he tried to paint her as paranoid, vindictive, someone who'd weaponized the police against a concerned grandmother. Isn't it true you've kept Mrs. Mercer from seeing her granddaughter? No, I've never prevented supervised visits. But I won't leave Avery alone with someone who's tried to manipulate her. You recorded your own daughter without her knowledge. I asked her to tell me what happened. She did. I recorded it to document her words accurately. Don't you think that's manipulative? I think protecting my daughter from someone trying to undermine my custody is responsible. The lawyer backed off. The defense called Lynn. She took the stand in a cream-colored suit, pearls, hair perfect. She cried when she talked about loving Avery, about only wanting what was best for her. I made a mistake, she said, dabbing at her eyes. I shouldn't have gone to her house. But I was desperate. I thought my granddaughter was in danger. Based on what? Caldwell asked during cross. Based on what I'd seen. Danielle works long hours. She's stressed. She's isolated Avery from family. Did you witness any actual neglect? I know, but did you see any evidence that Avery was in immediate danger? Lynn hesitated. No. So you hired 2 men to remove a child from her home based on your feelings. I was trying to help. By committing a crime. Lynn's lawyer objected again. Sustained this time, but the damage was done. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. When they came back, the forewoman stood. On the charge of attempted custodial interference, we find the defendant guilty. Lynn sobbed. Her lawyer put a hand on her shoulder. On the charge of conspiracy to commit unlawful restraint, we find the defendant guilty. Holbrook set sentencing for 3 weeks out. Danielle walked out of the courtroom into cold February air. Avery was with a friend's family, safe and unaware of what had just happened. Patricia, Lynn's sister, caught up with her in the parking lot. You know you've destroyed her life, Patricia said, voice shaking. She's 62 years old. She's going to jail because of you. Danielle stopped, turned. She's going to jail because she tried to kidnap my daughter. She was trying to save Avery from you. From what? Danielle asked. From stability? From a mother who loves her? Or from the fact that I wouldn't let Lynn control me anymore? Patricia's face twisted. You're cold. You always were. My sister was right about you. Danielle didn't argue. She just walked to her car. Some people would never understand. And that was fine. Sentencing day came in March. The courtroom was less crowded this time. Just the lawyers, the judge, a few family members in the gallery. Lynn stood before Holbrook, hands clasped, shoulders hunched. Caldwell spoke first. Requested jail time. This defendant orchestrated a plan to remove a child from her legal guardian's custody. She showed no remorse until after her arrest. The court must send a message that custodial interference won't be tolerated. Lynn's lawyer argued for probation, community service, house arrest, anything but jail. Mrs. Mercer has no prior record. She's a respected member of the community. She made a mistake born of genuine concern. She broke the law, Holbrook interrupted, not out of concern, out of control. He looked at Lynn. Do you have anything to say before I impose sentence? Lynn's voice was barely a whisper. I love my granddaughter. Everything I did was for her. No, Holbrook said. Everything you did was for yourself. He sentenced her to 18 months in county jail, with eligibility for early release after 12 months if she demonstrated good behavior, plus 5 years probation, plus a permanent no-contact order regarding Danielle and Avery. Lynn's knees buckled. Her lawyer caught her. The bailiff led her away. She looked back once at Danielle. Her face wasn't angry anymore, just broken. Danielle felt nothing. Outside, reporters waited. Small-town news had picked up the story. Grandmother jailed for attempted kidnapping. Danielle walked past them without comment, got in her car, drove home. Avery was at school. Wouldn't know about the sentencing until Danielle told her. If she told her, maybe it was better to just let it fade. Let Lynn become a memory, then a name, then nothing at all. The months after sentencing blurred together. Danielle turned down every travel assignment her company offered, requested a transfer to local accounts only. The pay was less, the work less prestigious, but she was home every night. She attended every school event, every parent-teacher conference, every field trip sign-up. Avery thrived. Her grades stayed high. She made new friends. She laughed more. In May, her teacher called Danielle in for a meeting. I just wanted to let you know, Mrs. Rodriguez said. Avery's been doing exceptionally well, her writing especially. She submitted a story for the school anthology. It's about a girl who learns to be brave. Can I read it? Mrs. Rodriguez handed over a printed copy. Danielle read it there in the classroom, standing by the window while kids played on the playground outside. The story was about a girl whose grandmother tried to steal her away, about how her mother fought to keep her safe, about how the girl learned that love didn't mean giving in. Danielle's eyes burned. She blinked hard. She's very talented, Mrs. Rodriguez said softly. She is. And she's lucky to have you. Danielle folded the paper carefully. Thank you. That night at dinner, Avery was quiet, pushed her chicken around her plate. Mrs. Rodriguez showed you my story, didn't she? No point lying. She did. Are you mad? Why would I be mad? Avery shrugged. I wrote about everything. Danielle set down her fork. Come here. Avery came around the table. Danielle pulled her into a hug. I'm proud of you, Danielle said, for being brave enough to write about it, for turning something hard into something beautiful. Avery hugged back tight. Is Grandma Lynn still in jail? Yes. Good. Danielle pulled back, looked at her daughter. Why good? Because she tried to take me away from you, and that was wrong. Simple. Clear. No room for manipulation. Yes, Danielle said. It was. Summer came. Hot and humid. Avery went to day camp. Learned archery and swimming and how to make friendship bracelets. One evening in July, Danielle got an email from Lynn's lawyer. Mrs. Mercer is eligible for early release in October. She's required to serve 5 years probation and maintain the no-contact order. But she's asked me to reach out. She wants to apologize. Danielle deleted the email without responding. 2 days later, another email. This one from Patricia. My sister has suffered enough. She's lost everything. Her friends, her reputation, her freedom. She made a mistake. Can't you find it in your heart to forgive her? For Avery's sake? Danielle read it 3 times. Then she wrote back. Lynn didn't make a mistake. She planned to kidnap my daughter. She manipulated her. She lied to authorities. She hired criminals. Those weren't accidents. They were choices. I don't forgive her. I won't forgive her. Not for my sake and not for Avery's. Avery is happy now. She's safe. She's healing from the trauma Lynn caused. Forgiveness isn't owed to people who refuse to acknowledge the harm they've done. Tell Lynn to serve her time. Follow her probation. Stay away from us. That's all I require. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Patricia never wrote back. Fall came. Avery started 4th grade. New teacher. New classroom. Same bright energy. One Saturday in October, they went to the farmer's market. Bought apples and cider and a pumpkin for carving. Walking back to the car, Avery said, Mom, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think I'll ever want to see Grandma Lynn again? Danielle stopped, set down the pumpkin, knelt so they were eye level. I don't know, baby. Maybe when you're older. Maybe never. That's your choice. But what if she's different? What if she's sorry? Then that's something she'll have to live with. Being sorry doesn't erase what she did. Avery thought about that. Did you ever forgive Dad? Hard question. Honest answer deserved. No, Danielle said. I accepted what happened. I moved on. But forgiveness? That's not something I owe him. Is that bad? No. It's self-preservation. Avery nodded slowly. I don't think I want to see Grandma. Not for a long time. Okay. Is that mean? It's honest. And it's your right. They picked up the pumpkin together, walked to the car. At home, they carved faces into orange flesh. Danielle made hot chocolate. They sat on the porch, watching the sun set over the quiet street. Thanks for listening, Avery said suddenly, when I told you Grandma was being weird. Danielle looked at her daughter, 9 years old and already learning the hard lessons about trust and boundaries and when to fight back. Always, Danielle said. I'll always listen. I know. Avery smiled. That's why I'm not scared anymore. November came, a year since Lynn's arrest. Danielle received official notice that Lynn had been released from county jail after serving 12 months. She was on probation. The no-contact order remained in effect. Danielle filed it away with the rest of the documentation. Life went on. Work, school, soccer practice, homework, movie nights. Normal, stable, safe. One evening in December, Avery came home with another story. This one for English class. Can you read it? She asked. Danielle sat on the couch. Avery curled up beside her. The story was about a girl and her mother, about how they built a life together, about how sometimes the people who claim to love you are the ones you need protection from, about how mothers protect their children even when it's hard, even when people call them cruel. The last line read, Love isn't about giving in. It's about standing firm. Danielle's throat tightened. It's beautiful, she said. I wrote it about us. I know. Avery leaned her head on Danielle's shoulder. You're a good mom. Danielle kissed the top of her daughter's head. You're a good kid. They sat like that for a long time. The house quiet around them. The world outside cold and dark. But inside they were warm. Inside they were safe. And that was enough. Years would pass. Avery would grow up, graduate high school, go to college, build her own life. Lynn would serve her probation. Eventually it would end. The no-contact order would expire. She would try to reach out. Letters, emails, messages through mutual acquaintances. Danielle would never respond. Avery, when she turned 18, would make her own decision. She would read one of Lynn's letters, consider it carefully. Then she would write back a single line. I don't forgive you. Don't contact me again. Because Avery had learned, from her mother, that forgiveness wasn't required. That protecting yourself wasn't cruelty. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do is walk away from people who hurt you. And mean it. But that was in the future. Now, in this moment, Danielle sat with her daughter on their couch in their safe house. She thought about the woman who'd tried to take Avery away, who'd believed her intentions justified her actions, who'd learned, too late, that love without respect is just control. She thought about the choice she'd made to stand firm, to fight, to refuse to let fear or guilt or family obligation override her responsibility to her child. She'd been called cold, cruel, unforgiving. Maybe she was. But Avery was safe, happy, whole. And that made Danielle something more important than kind. It made her necessary. The porch light flickered. Danielle made a mental note to change the bulb. Avery yawned. Can we have pancakes for breakfast tomorrow? Absolutely. With chocolate chips. We'll see. Avery grinned. Stretched. I'm gonna get ready for bed. Brush your teeth. I know, Mom. Danielle watched her daughter climb the stairs, listened to the water run, the bathroom door close. She locked the front door, checked the windows, turned off the downstairs lights. Upstairs, Avery was already in bed, covers pulled up to her chin, night light glowing soft blue. Good night, baby. Night, Mom. Danielle closed the door halfway, walked to her own room, sat on the edge of her bed, looked at her hands. Steady, strong. She'd fought for Avery once. She'd do it again if needed. But tonight there was no fight, just peace, just home, just enough. She turned off the light, closed her eyes, and slept.